guys, I'm Becky. My channel's What Beck Sews. Welcome back if you're a subscriber and welcome if you're new. Today's a Friday Sews where I'm going to talk about what I've been up to with you. I hope you're well, I hope you're happy, and I hope you've all had plenty of time to sew. It has been a busy week here in the Becky household. We have been sewing up a storm. I have had a better week than I expected, and my mum's procedure went a lot better than we expected. So I ended up with a bit of extra time to actually get some sewing done, which is quite nice. So massive thank you to all the well wishes. I've had another couple of coffees bought for me. So a massive thank you. You know who you are. I really do appreciate it. And that has gone in the bank, 4 coffees actually, whilst I've been sitting in the hospital waiting for the procedure to be done. So that was quite good. I have got a few items that I've got sewn up, but I'll just tell you what I'm wearing before I talk about that. I am wearing a Zadie jumpsuit. I love this Zadie jumpsuit. It's very, very comfortable. Working from home today. This is my lunch break, and I am, just in comfort for working from home, and the Zadie jumpsuit is the best way of doing that, but you still look nice and put together, which is great. This fabric came from Algarve Fabrics, I think. So I want to say Stoke somewhere, but I just can't remember where. But it was what I bought when Adele and I went shopping in Algarve Fabrics before our sewing retreat, which was so much fun. So I think what I'm going to start with is my work in progress. I think that might actually be best because I'm not actually finished it. Now I did share with you another work in progress, which is almost finished, and it was my Nell shirt. But I didn't get round to completing it because I needed to get some buttons sorted out for it. Now I popped an Instagram post up. This is my button box. I popped an Instagram post up to everybody earlier on in the week and asked if these would be the right kind of buttons for that particular fabric. I'll pop the picture in that I shared on Instagram, but it's got a slight tinge of a very light yellow and pink to them. They're a bit like rhubarb and custard, I like to think. Hopefully you can see them. They're only little, they're 12mm buttons, but I thought they'd be quite appropriate for it. I had a lot of people say yes. I had some that say they get lost. And I just thought I quite like them, so I think I am going to go with them. I did look at a couple of other buttons that I had in my stash to see if any of them would be appropriate. I've got lots of pinks and blues and various different colours, the colours that I tend to gravitate more to, but no sort of plain, because this is Becky, we don't do plain. I did have these, which I thought could also go, which are a shell of some kind, I can't remember what they're called. Little flowers, but they're about the most plain buttons that I've got in my stash, so they are also a possibility. But let me know which you think. I will pop a picture in of these buttons against the fabric just to remind you what the fabric is, because I do want to get that shirt finished off, because I actually want to be able to wear that this coming week at work. So that is one whip that I've got to finish off, but it's quite straightforward, literally buttons and hemming, that's it. I also started the Avenir jumpsuit this week. Now I cut this out 2 months ago. Now this is from a fabric that I got from the lovely Claire. She gifted it to me. Well, we did a bit of an exchange. We did a, you have some Jazz and Wow bits for this particular fabric. This fabric came in a So Hailey Jane box, and I don't subscribe to the So Hailey Jane anymore. And part of the reason I don't subscribe, it's a wonderful box, but a lot of Hailey's tastes in fabric choices aren't my cup of tea, and I ended up with more fabrics in my stash than I did actually make. And I think that was a point for me that I went, no, stop this. But she has got some absolute corkers. I mean, this month's box that she's just had go out is incredible. The fabrics in both her sort of luxury and her classic box were amazing. But this particular fabric came in her classic box a long time ago. I mean, how beautiful is this? Now let's sparkle with Sam, who's here on YouTube and on Instagram. She has made an Avenir in this particular fabric, and I am completely stealing it from her because I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And Claire sent me her fabric in exchange for some Jazz and Wow bits, and I just sent her a big box of Jazz and Wow bits. And I am so pleased because this fabric is just beautiful. I love purple, I love pink, I love anything that's on a black background as well, because it gives you a really nice contrast. And I think this is coming together lovely. So I have got the top part all constructed and the elastic in. Now I did run out of elastic, which is why I have stopped and not got this finished because I didn't have any of the right size or even remotely near the right size fabric. So I have got the trousers sewn up as well. All I need to do is literally sew the casing up with the elastic, attach the two and then hem, and it's done. So it's not got that far to go, it's not a million miles away, but I needed to order some elastic, and I actually did like a bulk order of elastic from Amazon. I ended up ordering quite a substantial amount of elastic in all different sizes to make sure that I had everything. Now, one of the things that I did do with this pattern differently is the last time when I made my 12 version of this, I made the same size that I've made now, and I did like open up the pockets a little bit larger based on the Northern Soul Sisters review that they did. I've widened the pockets even more, and these are perfectly deep pockets now. I feel like I've given them the right sort of width. I think I've added about an inch around them, so they're still the same shape, but yeah, I've added an inch onto them, and they're just fantastic. I don't know if you can see, but that is now the size of my pocket. So yeah, and I think they look amazing. So that's the first thing that I got done this week, but ran out of elastics, so I couldn't actually get them finished off. So I'm looking forward to getting them finished off. I think that's going to look absolutely amazing on. And because of all of this mixed weather that we're having, where like today it's a little bit muggy, but it's warm, but it's miserable out there, you know, that we've got grey skies, it almost looks like it's going to rain. And this is kind of like the perfect summery outfit for that kind of weather, because you still feel a bit bright, you've still got the short sleeves so you can handle the humidity and the heat, but yet you're a bit wrapped up for when it's that little bit cooler and you feel like you're blending in with the miserable weather. It wouldn't be a UK vlogger if they didn't talk about the weather at some point. So that was my work in progress. I will hopefully share the finished results of that and how fabulous that looks on when I come back on next week. So the next thing that I got made up this week is a wrap jumpsuit. Now, we all know that I do love a wrap. This is the New Look 6554 pattern. I'll pop a picture of the pattern in here. I made a toile of this, but I made the dress version in a very inexpensive fabric from Fabricland, and it was like this leopard print blue fabric, and actually that dress has had a lot of wear. I really like it, but I realised when I made that up, the front sat too forward, it seemed to just drape, and the back there was loads of excess fabric, so I thought I could probably size down and then I could do a sway back adjustment. But what I actually did was I took about 1.5 inches out of the back as a sway back, so you take it from the centre. In fact, let me get the pattern piece so I can show you what I'm talking about. So this is the back bodice piece, and you can see here I've got some sellotape, because what I've done is taken 1.5 inches out of the centre here and pulled it all the way across, and actually I have gone quite far across on this particular pattern, so I've pulled it to about here, and it's like a long triangular line that you're doing, because you don't want to take any length out of the side, because you still want it to fit at the bottom and match to your waistband. And then I have pulled it up and sellotaped it, so you can see it gives this kind of effect. I don't know if you can see that. So you see it's coming in to match your spine, or the curvature of your spine. And what you also find is that you then remove all of that excess fabric that you've got in the back as a result. And then actually what that's done is it's pulled it in all the right places to make it fit me perfectly. So I changed that based on the original dress pattern that I made and showed you. And I really wanted to make the jumpsuit version. Now, the frustrating thing about this is it only goes up to a size 18. So what I've done is I've graded a size, I put this on Instagram and I've just realised that I put the wrong sizing on Instagram. So I've come out in the body measurements at a 14, and when I've looked at the finished garment measurements, I actually came out as a 16. But when I actually looked at the finished garment measurements, I sat at the 14. So I've cut the 14 top, but I've graded out to an 18 bottom. Now the 18 bottom takes me to a 46-inch hip as a finished garment body measurement. That means that it's incredibly tight on me, and actually what I could have done with there being was an extra size on this, so going up to a size 20, so I graded out to a 20. Not that these don't fit me, because they do fit me absolutely perfectly. I just would have liked a little bit more ease, and because it's a stretchy material, it didn't matter that they were going to be a little bit tight, but I do think just having an extra inch on that would actually help me a little bit more, just to, I don't know, but I just feel that I could have done with going up one more size. It's not going to deter me from making this pattern again, because I love the way that it looks on. So let me pop some footage and pictures and stuff in so you can see what I'm talking about, because I actually wore this at the beginning of the week, which means I haven't got it to hand. So this is, you can see it actually fits me perfectly. It sits exactly how I want it to on the back. In some of the pictures, I thought it looked like it was riding up on the crotch area, but actually it's not at all. There is space there, and it's really comfortable, and it's probably just the way I'm standing and the fact that it is a closer fit. But it does fit me perfectly. I wore this all day on Monday. I was working from home. It was like wearing secret pajamas, but I went out for a walk at lunchtime and did like the mile around the village. I went out and took the dogs out in the evening and was really comfortable. With my daughter and I went out. She was my photographer for some of these photos, and it was just great. It was really, really comfortable. I must admit, there was part of me initially when I made this, because I love this fabric. I think it's called Tutti Frutti Floral or something along those lines, and it's been very, very popular in the sewing community. I've seen lots of people make lots of different things with this fabric. I haven't yet seen a jumpsuit made up in it, and when I was making it, I did think, would it look better as a play suit, which is your shorts version, or a jumpsuit? Because of the cut, it's a very 70s style jumpsuit, and I think with that vibrance of print, I am pushing myself, and I did wonder if I was pushing myself a little bit too far. I like bright, I like bold, I like, you know, making a statement in what I'm wearing, but I do also, you know, there's a point where you can go over, and I did wonder, but actually the more I wore it, the more comfortable I felt in it, the more I fell in love with it, and the more I think it's just me in an outfit. So yeah, I am really pleased with it. I'm pleased with the adjustments that I've made. Now this is an easy pattern. It's a new look easy pattern. It's called Easy, so it is designed for beginners. Now if you are somebody that hasn't made the big four patterns before and doesn't have a full understanding of the construction of the garment, this isn't for you. I would say that the instructions are basic and they don't hold your hand all the way through, and the knowledge that I have of how a wrap piece goes together, of how you're connecting the bodice to the bottom, does make this easy for me to be able to make up. So for somebody that has got experience of sewing and constructing garments, it's fine, but I would say if you're adventurous and you've got an idea, go for it, but I wouldn't say it's definitely not beginner friendly and hold your hands through. But if you've got a bit of experience behind you, you'll absolutely be fine. And actually, if you've constructed a garment similar to this, you could work your way through what you're supposed to be doing. I do construct the waistband or the waist area with the elastic very differently to how the instructions tell me to do. I just sew in the elastic onto the waist and then attach the two. And in this particular one, because I'd run out of elastic and I didn't have any of the right sizing, I have got a much thicker piece of elastic in there. I feel for sturdiness and how it fits me, actually, it's quite nice. It feels like I'm secure and like I'm not having to pull it up because it's not too small of an elastic, but it is something that I know is bigger than the pattern states, if that makes sense. So I'm really pleased with this. I've now made a big four pattern where I've used the dress version and the jumpsuit version, and I feel good for that. I feel like I'm exploring a little bit by using some big four patterns, and as you know, I bought quite a few recently. But coming away from big four and going back to indie, I made a favourite of mine, but one I haven't made for a very long time. So This is the Friday Pattern Company Westcliff dress. Now I realised that this isn't on the Friday Pattern Company website anymore when I was having a look for it, which was really frustrating. I don't know whether they've taken it down because it's one that they're just not releasing any more of, or whether they're going to be working on it and re-releasing it at a later date. I don't actually know. It is one of their much older patterns, but I'll put a picture in here of the pattern itself. Again, it's a wrap over front. Big win for me. The construction of this is great and the pattern instructions are really easy to follow. Now there are a lot of shops that stock this in, but it's not a PDF version. They stock the main pattern. I don't know whether the fold line will have the PDF version of this, but yeah, there are a lot of shops out there that still stock it, so if you do want it, you can get hold of it. This is the fabric that I used. This is a Lady McElroy fabric, as I found out recently. I didn't realise that, but I purchased this from Fabricland and it was really inexpensive. I think I paid about £4.50, £4.95 a metre for it. It's a really lovely t-shirt in white, sort of viscose jersey. And yes, this works with this dress. What I would give you as a tip and a piece of advice is if you are making it up, put it on, because it's quite a heavy dress, and obviously when it's heavy, this pulls. So I would say put it on and not actually decide on what length you want it until it's hung for a bit, because mine pulled down and it was a lot longer than I expected it to be. So I left it, then cut the bottom, and I actually still haven't hemmed it because I have cut it, but I wore it to work this week unhemmed because it's jersey and I've got a rotary cutter, so I have a lovely straight line finish. I've got no jagged edges, so whether I even hem it will be decided. Terrible of a sewist. So the Friday Pattern Company dress is a wrap front. You've got a lovely yoke on the front, and this yoke gives you like a little bit of a gathering here. I don't know how well that's coming up because it's quite a busy pattern, but it gives a nice sort of shaping to the bust area because you've got this gathering here and it just drapes nicely over. Now there is a B and a D cup sizing to this pattern. I make the B cup. I did make the D cup, and it's designed if your higher bust is slightly different. Mine's not, and I felt that the D cup just was too much. There was just too much fabric there, and actually I quite like a closer fit. Let me pop some footage in of this dress because it's easier than me actually showing you it from this, because it just is. I think I've got some video footage of me in it so you can see me twirling around in it. This dress is such a quick make. You can make this up in, I want to say, a couple of hours. I did most of it over on the overlocker. Obviously there is some gathering to the bottom tier, and if you were making just the shorter version without the gathering, it sews up in no time, because you literally, apart from this gathered bit here, you can do most of it on the overlocker. So I do love this pattern. I do recommend it. If you haven't made it, give it a go. Predominantly, I'd say it does fit a working environment. It's one of those dresses that I do wear for work religiously. I've got my Fun Dupes design one that I love, and I've worn that a few times out of work if I've gone up to the pub to meet with friends and stuff like that across the summer, because it's quite a fun, vibrant fabric. So I do think fabric choice does make all the difference in how this looks, but I definitely like this. It's a workhorse for me in my wardrobe for work, and I needed a few more summery type dresses, and with it being white, I thought that that was perfect, but it wasn't bright white, it was like a cream white. But yeah, I'm in love with this. I'm really happy with what I've made, and I feel like I've pulled together another really good, unique piece for my wardrobe. So that's it on the makes front. So I've done a Westcliff dress, the New Look jumpsuit, and I have got a work in progress here in my Avenir jumpsuit. I sent off for printing this week to CLC Prints. So I have been using Fabuloso, and I do love Fabuloso. There's nothing wrong with Fabuloso. I actually really like the paper it comes on. But they've been quite slow in delivery, and I knew that I wanted it for this weekend. I've got a sewing social this weekend, so I ended up going through CLC Prints, which is pricing. There's no real difference. The difference is the paper that it comes on. Now this is more on a paper. It's lighter weight than Netta printer, but it's still a paper. And what I've got here is the Style Arc Parker. Parma woven dress. Now, of course, the lovely Ruan, who is the Yorkshire Sew Girl, made this up in a beautiful fabric, and I just fell in love with it. So I've printed this off, and I'm going to hopefully make this up. And the other thing that I really want to get done, now I've got some elastic this week, is the Holland Park dress by Nina Lee. So I talked about doing this last week. Obviously I haven't had a chance because I didn't have any of the elastic that I needed to get it done. So you've got two different versions. When I was in work, I printed off the instructions, just because I wanted to use their printer instead of wasting my own thermal printing paper. So the version I'm actually interested in making is this one here, which is like a t-shirty version. But I just think that's gorgeous. I really love this, and maybe as we go more into autumn, if I can find a slightly more autumnal colouring that suits me, because I'm not very good with the warm colours, I'm definitely cool tones, then that would be quite nice going into the cooler months. But I am really taken with this as well, not with the tie top. I wouldn't make ties, I'd make it so it fits around the top, but I really love that, and I've seen some beautiful dresses. And I have seen a version, and I think I'm going to do the same thing in a different colourway. I saw a version on Instagram of the most recent Beyond the Pink Door fabric being made into the Holland Park dress, and it was used as a toile, but it's actually beautiful and looks absolutely stunning on her. So I think that I might use that fabric to make my version, because I think that's a great use of it. Just may not make it as long. I'll see how the fabric stretches on it, but that is definitely what I am considering making. So I did print off the instructions for that this week whilst I was in the office. So CLC prints, I've got the Style Arc dress here, the Parma woven dress, but I also reprinted a couple of old patterns that I haven't had in a while. So one of the things that's on my to-do list, and I've reprinted it, but when I actually get around to making it, I'm not sure, is the Lyra dress by Tilly and the Buttons. Now, I love this dress. I've got the sizing right now. I know how to get my shoulders fitting me how I want them to fit me. So I thought I'm going to reprint that and actually get on with a Lyra dress. Now, that may be an end of summer going into the autumn, because it's a perfect dress for the autumn months, but it's there and ready to go when I need it. I also got the Mave skirt reprinted, because one of the other options that I had for the Beyond the Pink Door fabric was a Mave skirt, because I thought that would be beautiful. So because I haven't quite made my mind up, I thought I'm going to reprint the pattern, because I can't find my pattern pieces, and use that. I also got the Itch to Stitch Algarve top printed off as well whilst I was at it. This is, I don't think there's an image on here, I'll pop the image in there, but I got that printed because it's just a really simple top. It'd be great for work, and it would go with a few pairs of my trousers as well, so I thought that would be really nice. I've got some lovely, I think that would be better for a viscose, and I've got some lovely viscoses upstairs. I feel like it would be quite a quick make as well, and I feel like that would be a good pairing with some of the saguaro trousers that I've made recently. And the last thing I got printed, which is completely and utterly Cara from So So Mad, and the lovely Angela from Devon Threadtail's fault, is the Sally jumpsuit by Closet Core Patterns, because they have both recently made versions of this, and it is stunning. And I've got so much jersey upstairs. And as you can probably tell, I do love a jumpsuit. I must admit, I think what I've made one this week, I'm wearing one today, and I've got one here as a whip. I do wear jumpsuits. It's something I'm naturally drawn to. It's very comfortable to wear, and although you have to get completely undressed to go to the toilet, I still love wearing them. So I've done that. Now there's lots of prints there. I'm not by any stretch going to get half of that done this week. My focus, I do have my sewing social, so I'd really like to get this finished, which I probably will get that done tonight, get my Holland Park dress by Nina Lee sewn up, and then if I get time, move on to the Style Arc Parma woven dress, because I think that would be a really good summer staple for me. Potentially one for work as well, which, you know, can't go wrong when you're making them for work. So yeah, and then look onto some of the others if I get time. But I've done a couple of jersey makes this week. And I love a jersey make because they are quick and satisfying. So it'll be nice to do a couple of woven makes this coming week and make some more great additions to my lovely summer wardrobe. Now, the other thing I want to quickly let you know, because I imagine by the end of this weekend I will have this up, down there is a pile of fabrics, and in that pile of fabrics is stuff that I want to de-stash. I've been having another good sort out of my fabrics. I know I do this quite often, but I've had a lot of new fabrics come into my stash, and what I don't want to do is be in a position where I'm overwhelmed with all the fabrics that I have. So I've been sorting out, and if it's not my taste anymore, it's been going into that pile. That pile has then stayed there for the week, which is driving me crazy because it's in the middle of my living room, but it means that I look at it every time, and every time I look at it, I look at the fabric and go, is that something I really like? Is that something I'm going to use? And because I haven't, and then I can take it back out, but I haven't taken any back out. I've also ordered a little bit of fabric this week. So I mentioned last week that I'd made an order to Little Legs fabric. That arrived. I haven't got it, but I must show you. These are both for my winter stash. These are not fabrics for summer stash. And I don't have a huge amount of winter fabrics in my stash. I have lots of viscose jersey. I don't have a lot of cotton jerseys. I don't have a lot of knits. So I don't feel guilty about purchasing these. I spent £25 on these two fabrics. I got decent amounts of both. These were in the Little Legs sale that they were having on, and they are just so beautiful and unusual that I couldn't say no. Look at this, gorgeous, and it's so thick, and it's going to be so snuggly and warm. So I got I think 2.5 meters of this one. Look at these colors on this. Honestly, this is just such a lovely quality fabric. So that arrived this week, and I also got this, which again is just a lovely thick knit, and of course an animal print, and it's raised as well, so it's just really lovely. Now, like I said, for the two of these, I think I got 1.75 meters of this one. There wasn't much of this one left, and they did email me and then text me, because I hadn't picked up the email, to say that they were short on what I'd ordered, because I'd originally gone for 2 meters. Now for this one, I'd kind of had like a really nice wintry dress in mind, but for this one, I want to make a thick and chunky cardigan with that, because I just think that would be a really nice sort of statement piece to wear over things. But this one, I did think it would be a nice dress. I think I'll still get that out of the amount that I've got here, but we'll just see. But that's going into the winter, so it's literally going into my stash for the winter, and they were in the sale. But I did go on and purchase 2 more fabrics from Pound Fabrics this week. Now, I haven't had them delivered yet. I imagine they'll either turn up today or, knowing my luck, tomorrow when my other half is around to see them. And they are it's a red double gauze fabric, and it's just a standard plain red double gauze fabric, and it's another red fabric. So I've basically ordered 2 red fabrics, and it's with intentions of making something. So I didn't need them. I'm just going to say that. But I wanted them, and that was inspired as well by the lovely Cara from So Mad, because she'd made this beautiful set of red stuff, and I just fell in love with it and had to have red right there and then. So I went on to Pound Fabrics and ordered some, because I knew it would be relatively inexpensive. So I am expecting that to arrive as well soon in the next few days. So I think that is everything from me. I feel like this is going to be quite a long vlog for you guys. But I just want to say a massive thank you for watching. A massive thank you to everybody that's subscribed recently. I've seen my numbers really go up, and I am so close to my 5,000 mark. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that like button so other people can find this vlog. I hope that you are enjoying the content. If there's anything else you'd really like to see from me, I'd love to know. Pop it in the comments down below. And as always, tell me what you're up to, because I love to hear from you. Just want to give a shout out to a vlogger that I've found. I've been looking for a few new vloggers recently, and it's the lovely Wendy, who is Wendy Paul the Dressmaker here on YouTube. So I'm going to link her channel down below. She's got 2 vlogs out that I've seen this week, or that I've seen not this week, but that I've seen, and they're really good. They're really lovely. They're well filmed. They've got lots of detail about the garments that she's been making, and I really enjoyed her vlog. So I'll pop her down below so you can go off and discover her if you haven't already. Right, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to stop talking to you. Have a fantastic week, guys, and I'll catch you all next week. Bye.